I'm
And so
hoping.
did you actually have to buy the web center? And so now
I did. I had to do the monthly, the $49 a month. Yeah.
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 Because I was thinking about going through the training myself, but we already had something going on Saturday, so I couldn't do this one. So
It's good. It's good training. I learned a lot.
yeah, I may look at the next one. Brian Madison, who's our neighbor but on our team, he got on a web center overview that Jocelyn was doing last week. That the other guy was supposed to get on, but he forgot his grandson had a ball game or something he had to go to. So he's still interested. So I found Jason Pellin's overview of it and sent it to him, the YouTube video. He touched base with him this weekend, and he said he had some trouble with his computer. He got about halfway through it and couldn't hear it, and so he was going to try again today.
It's always something.
Yeah. So, but Brian is still interested, and gave him the information about the training, but they already had guests coming in Saturday, and because that was kind of a last minute, notification. But so I told him that Carmen, is that her name?
Carmen.
Was planning to do one sometime
in July.
Yeah. In July, so I would let him
She
know.
does a good job. She's very interesting. She owns an advertising agency. So,
Cool.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hey there. How are you?
We're just chatting.
Were you guys all on the last call?
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
They have a lot of energy. Maria,
Hello.
Hello, hello.
you're muted.
You can talk, but we can't hear you.
Well, I want to turn on the other light so I'm not in the dark.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Beth. Hey, Pip.
Hi. Maria's playing musical chairs.
In the chair, out of the chair, in the chair, out of the chair. What time is it?
It's 8:59.
It's been a crazy day.
They're all crazy.
I was going to say they're all crazy. All of them are crazy. So, Laura and Maria, by any chance, were either of you just on the other call that just happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so everybody was.
Some of the stuff sounded familiar, huh?
Yep.
Just a little.
Most of it.
Yeah. We're sitting here watching going, yep, we've covered that, covered that, covered that.
Yep.
So
that's a good thing. It reinforces what you're teaching us.
well, that's the thing. So before we actually get into continuing on with our stories and all that stuff that we've been talking about and working on that. Oh, here comes Harry and Stacia.
Full house tonight.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Harry, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, yes, of course. I always start out that way, but then I get real vocal. So
We like that.
That's all right. Vocal is good.
vocal.
Vocal and smiles. Right?
Yeah,
So I'm just going to ask you guys, since you just joined in, Harry, did you happen to be on the last call that just happened with Elizabeth and Phil Guido, et cetera?
yes, yeah.
Sure. Okay. Stacia, were you on that one?
No, we didn't have power or internet or anything, and I just had to go outside and assess damage, so.
Okay. Okay. So everybody but Stacia was on. So I just kind of want to kind of pull it together because obviously, I mean, Pip and I were like, we need that energy in our call.
I had it on my schedule, but Mother Nature intervened.
Okay. It happens. So what I want to find out from those of you who are on it, like, I have so many questions. What did you get from it? What do you feel holds you back? And the reason I say that is because so many of us have had full-time jobs. And some of us still have full-time jobs. I mean, some of you are still working full-time. But when we move from a full-time job, like Charlotte and I were talking earlier today, or I don't know, I've talked to you so many times in the last week. I mean, I'm going to actually, I know you don't want to be talked about, but I'm so proud of what she's done. And I'll go into that she's followed the system. She has literally leveraged the team in the past 6 weeks so effectively. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to know, like, what holds you guys back? Because we hear the same questions, like, I don't know what to say to people. And then you listen to what they talk about, and it's really the same thing that we keep talking about, having people evaluate, meeting people, and getting out and meeting people who are smiling and influential and positive. But if you go out leading with negative energy yourself because life has been tough, and like Charlotte and I were talking earlier, she said something like, I have a crazy day and I have this and this. And I said, Charlotte, just a few short months ago, you were doing that in addition to a full-time job. You would have had to go do your full-time job, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go do your full-time job, come home and take care of those things. And she went, oh my gosh. It's so quickly we forget what our lives used to be. And so I know that some of you obviously are still working full-time, but we can sit and make excuses all day long. Life gets in the way for everyone. I always say to Pip, it's so funny. Everyone always calls me and says, well, I had this and I had this. You guys, I never, ever share with you what's going on in our life. And I'm just going to put that out there. I don't. Because when I come to be with you, I'm here to be positive. Do we have shit in our life? Absolutely. Every single day, there is stuff going on. But if I bring that to you, what does that do to move any of you forward? So we have to, I'm not saying we want to push everything under the table, because we all become very good friends. And so, I mean, we have to support one another. And so I'm not saying that we don't discuss negative things or bad stuff that's going on, but we have to come with good energy. We have to come with results that we can obtain. We've got to come with, how are we going to overcome, instead of spending the first 10 minutes on a phone call about all the bad stuff that's going on. And again, I'm just going to mention to truly stay out of the political zone completely on Facebook, because literally we have people on our team on both ends of the spectrum. And I am not going to, as JR says, allow politics. Politics has never, ever gotten in the way of us building our business. But if we all go out and we start putting things and comments on other people's things, I see comments being made on other partners of ours from people, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, because that person's on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of their thoughts of politics than the person that I see making the comment. And that never is going to bode well for a team. And they talked about that. It's all teamwork. So I just want to encourage you, try so hard. And I know it's so hard, but Facebook, social media is not the place for politics. Have those conversations with your friends over a glass of wine. You know, do a Zoom with them if you have to.
Or have a private group.
Or have a private group, because we're seeing too much of it here and there and everywhere, and it's not healthy. So I just wanted to get that out of the way first. But I want to know, after watching a session like that, what do you guys take away from that? Because we sit there and say, what are we missing? Like this past week, I had a call with a new prospect, and I don't even remember. I think I texted Laura, and I think I texted Charlotte asking if they could help. They couldn't,
Thursday.
available to jump on. I reached out to Carl because it was a guy, and I felt like he would relate to Carl and Carl would relate to him. I didn't know a lot about him at the time, but I thought it would be a good fit. And I reached out to Carl, and he was like, absolutely, I'd get on a call with you. So he got on a call with me, and we had a fabulous call, but it would not have been the same if it was me one-on-one. And I didn't want Pip on the call necessarily, because I didn't want the guy thinking it was my husband and we were ganging up against him. I wanted to create that get to know you session. What was he looking for? What did he want more of in his life? And it just so ended up that he really related. As soon as I had Carl share his story, he then kept coming back and going, oh yeah, Carl, I can relate to that. Oh, Carl. It was all about Carl then, and it wasn't about me. And that's my whole point, that this whole teamwork thing. So I'm going to shut up. And for those of you who are on that call, I want to know what do you feel that we can do to bring more energy to your business, or what can you do to bring more energy to your business for us to bring this teamwork together and really start moving forward with numbers each week in terms of doing more Zoom sessions? Because, you know, if you were just on that call, you heard Phil Guido, and I remember that. He used to literally get on that plane and travel to the West Coast on the red-eye flight. And here we are, that all we have to do is pop open our computer. It's kind of crazy. So with that being said, I will let anybody that wants to talk. Maria.
I think you saw my Facebook posts. I had I had dinner with some old friends last week. And coincidentally, both of them brought up, when I was with Lorna and Lori, Lorna asked me, so do you still talk with Beth and Pip much? And I said, well, yeah, all the time. I said, we're in business together. And she says, oh, I didn't know if you were still doing that or not, blah, blah, blah. And one thing led to another, and she started asking questions. And come to find out, she lost her job, so she's out of work. Lori, of course, was trying to talk her into moving to Myrtle Beach, because Lori lives in Myrtle Beach now.
Oh.
So she said, I got to find a job first. And Lori says to her, well, maybe if you move, you can find a job after you move. So anyway, it was kind of a playful conversation, and she kind of thought the two of us were ganging up on her. But long story short, we did talk a little bit about the business, because she asked me about the business then. What is it that you do? So I gave her just a brief little oversight. Gave her my card and said, here's my website if you want to take a look around. And she said, all right, I'm going to do that. And then we can talk about it later. So I have to follow up with her. She went back home on Saturday, I believe. And then Friday night, I was with Tom Trinchieri, and he also asked about, how's Beth doing? Do you talk to her much? Are you still in business with her? You still do that business and stuff with her? And I was like, yep, still doing it. So his wife had asked, well, what is it that you do? So he gave her the little, 2-second speech, gave her my card. And she goes, oh, I love to shop. And I said, well, where do you shop? She goes, Amazon. And I went, okay. And she goes, I guess that's not a good thing, huh? And I said, well, not from my perspective, it's not, but a lot of people shop at Amazon, and I understand that. So I said, would you be willing to take a look at my website? And she said, oh yeah, absolutely, I would love to. So I gave her a card, and I'll follow up with them. They're both retired, but it kind of started the conversation that the intent was not to go there to have a conversation at all about business. And it just so happened that in both meetings, they both asked about it and brought it up. So
let me ask you that, just for everyone else's use, what kind of, what is it did you give them? Because this is what we've been talking about, is having your stories so that you can, now obviously you might not have needed to use your story with them because they knew.
Yeah, I did not tell my story at all.
Right. So what is it did you use with them?
I said, I own an online shopping business, shopping platform that allows customers to purchase both products that we broker, as well as we partner with over 3,000 stores that most of you probably already shop at anyway. And that's when Tom's wife started saying, well, like what kind of stores? I love to shop here, and I love to shop here, and I love to shop here. And some of them I didn't know if they were partner stores because I don't shop at them. But there were some I did. She goes, Macy's. I'm like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorites, especially since I moved down here and there's really no Macy's here. So I do have to do it online anyway. Home Depot was another one that they brought up. So it kind of led into a little bit of a conversation, but I didn't want to have too much of a conversation because we were we were kind of in a, you know, we haven't seen each other in 40 years and we were trying to catch up.
Right.
But I did answer questions that they asked, but didn't really delve too deeply into it because I didn't want the whole thing to be
Right.
about a business, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we always say, if you're going to go out and have, you know, when you're going out and you're having an event with friends or event with family, do not bring up the business unless they bring it up and you talk a little bit like that. Because if you do, you're mixing the whole, you're giving a whole different spin to it. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. Enjoy the fact, I love that, Maria, that you enjoyed the fact of getting together with them after all these years and just getting to know each other. And that was a part of getting to know each other. But now what you can do is you can go back, and that's where you can now pull out your script and you can say, and this is how I would take it. When I meet somebody like that, I'll bring out my script and I'll do you know, I couldn't get you off my mind the last few days. The conversation we had that you said that you love to shop. I don't know that this will be a fit for you, but would you be willing to evaluate my business to be able to see if you can connect me to anyone? So just the whole script that you guys all have, but I would start it with, I don't know if you'd be willing to evaluate to help me. I can't get you off my mind. If they specifically said something that makes you feel it could be for them, then I start with, I don't know if you were serious the other night when you said, you know, maybe you need to find some work when you get down here. You know, you could take that approach with one, but I like that. I don't know if you were serious. So if they tell you something bad that you could overcome with this, then I use I don't know if you were serious. But if not, I would just take the evaluation approach. And again, always taking it away. And like Elizabeth talked about tonight, is just asking them to evaluate, to connect you to people. It's not about them. That way you're not, because here's the thing. I know when I started this, I was afraid I was going to lose every friend I had because I thought I was going after my friends to do this. And I think that's one of the hangups that stops people. But all of us here have already gone, most of us have already approached the people we know, except for, you know, those of you who still have chicken list, which I'm looking at all of you. Because I know you all still have a chicken list. And those are, as Elizabeth talked about, those are your most influential people probably. They're the ones you need to go ask to, you know, look at this for you. They're the ones that will probably actually be able to lead you or connect you to somebody. And then obviously getting out and meeting new people. But I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, congratulations. I would just keep feeding that. And again, they may feel most comfortable getting on a phone call or a Zoom with just you, but don't do that. Pull in somebody else. And here's the thing. I would say that even in this case, instead of pulling in Beth, Pip, or Charlotte, who went to high school with them as well, for the first one, pull in somebody else from the team that is an independent, non-connected past, so that you can have the conversation to do the evaluation and not have to talk about past life.
Mhm.
And then
I don't know them at all, so.
that's right. And then from there, if they're interested, then do the connection call to connect them to the high school classmates.
Okay.
Okay. Who else got something out of tonight? And what do you think you can improve upon, work on, what have you?
I got the, how did he say it? What did she say? You need to empower your team, not enable them.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, I've done a lot of things not probably the right way, not knowing any better, but hopefully I can just correct it going forward.
You can always correct it going forward. Always. Now, here's the thing. When we start out, we've never been on franchise owners before. So doing it the right way is, again, I think, and we always talk about this, you know, JR calls us the SMART team. You all want to be so independent, just like we wanted to be so independent. But I think somebody talked about that tonight, and I don't know where it is in my notes. My notes are, I was writing so much stuff.
That was Colin.
What was that?
That was Cullen, where he said when you have a job to do, you do your job, and nobody's coming over to help Cullen fix the machine.
That's right. And
Mhm.
and so it's hard for us to reach out and ask somebody because we're afraid. And I know all of you well enough. You're afraid to ask for help because you think I should be able to do it myself, or I want to do it myself. There's no leverage in doing it ourselves. And that is probably the biggest thing that we all have to learn, is to utilize somebody else and stop doing everything ourselves. And I am as guilty of it. I can't tell you for how many years I tried to do that. And every time I try to do that, my business slows down. Every time I utilize other people and leverage them, our business grows. There's more in team. Charlotte, you said it earlier today. There's no I in team. It's all teamwork. So, Laura, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just observing every time I watch Elizabeth talk, she just makes it sound so simple. Yeah, and it's like I would just like to be with her one day and just see if it's really that simple and that easy to flow out of her mouth when she talks like that. I mean, is it really that simple that she goes from just talking about that and then getting on a Zoom and, because I've never really experienced it that way. And it just, it's like, okay, oops, don't trip on that. It energizes me to see, okay, I'm just going to just talk like that then.
Part of it is attitude. And, one of the basic 5 is attitude and knowledge, and the attitude of changing in your mind that you don't need that person and following the process. That's what we're going to talk about Saturday in the local seminar that we're doing, is we're going back to trust the process. And the whole thing is not being married to the outcome, but being married to the process and going through it and having the confidence that the process works.
Pip actually watched me do calls with her because over the last couple of months, I did a couple of calls with her, and also with her team members that she's referring to that are growing so fast right now. And here's the thing, again, we all try to be so perfectionistic and independent and so tightly wound. And she is just, and Laura, you've said this to me so many times over the last year, you're so much more relaxed. You smile so much more than you did before. Those are the things that you're now starting to see that in me. And when you start seeing something in somebody, that means that you're aware. So you've created an awareness of something you need to work on for yourself, just like I did. That we're, a lot of us, all of us, are very tightly wound. And we need to just chill. She's just like that. She comes forward when she's talking, she smiles. And the other thing is, if it's not the right person, man, she moves right on. Nothing, it's just like, on. Don't even sweat it. Move on to the next person, because she is not looking, and we talk about this, she's not looking for a friend. She has plenty of friends. She's looking for people to help in business. Do they become friends in the process? Yeah, some of them do. But the thing is, she's not looking for a friend. And so if you're not the right person, that's fine. Move on. She's not looking to talk to you and become a friend. She's there to show you a business. But she does it in such a fun, aloof, matter-of-fact way that exactly how she talked on that call tonight is exactly how she talks on a Zoom. And she just comes forward and she goes, why wouldn't you convert your spending into earning? It's a no-brainer.
Right. And that comes from posture.
Right.
Having the posture of just, got nothing to lose. I don't care if that person comes in or not.
And again, I want to say not so tightly wound with the system, because part of it is we're taught the evaluation system from JR that's teaching very exact things every Wednesday night. And like what I learned from Elizabeth and talking to Colin and Phil and stuff is the fact that you can't, and even Elizabeth said to me, you can't take it so literal that you know, he says, okay, they have to lead to people, they have to lead to customers, they have to lead. You want people leading to people, and you want that, but at some point you also have to go, you've done something, you need to make a commitment. Because if we don't make that commitment soon enough with somebody, they can also be gone because they get very fed up and frustrated. And so some of you have people who have led to customers, and they're leading to people, they just haven't found the right ones yet. It's okay, pull that card, let them come on board, because that commitment level also then gives them access to the trainings.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
so we all need to shake it up a little,
Chill.
Loosen up.
shake it up a
And
bit.
remember, it's fishing, not
Mm-hmm.
hunting.
So Harry, Denise, or Paul, did you have anything you took away from tonight that you want to share?
I just want to say that
God bless you.
when I first jumped on and Elizabeth was talking, and she was this far from the camera, and my volume was very loud, I was like this. I was like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. Now, and then so what I got from that is that's the way she is, and the fact that she said, you know, the process she goes through was very matter of fact, and that's what she does. You know, it's like sorting. She was like, "Oh, are you the person? Are you the person that wants to do the, oh, no? Okay, fine. Next, you know." And so it's just a process. And by now, you know, after all these years, she's got it down. So there's no fake about it. You're right. It's posture, and it's matter of fact. This is who I am. You know, deal with it, basically. And it was amazing. I mean, I was back in my chair the whole time until Phil came on, and then it was like, ooh, okay. Ooh, okay.
But see, that's just proof that every personality can make this happen. You don't have to be one, like none of us have to become Elizabeth.
No, you can't.
We just-
Right.
Oh, I mean, none of us here are going to be Elizabeth.
No.
None of us. But the thing is, posture is important no matter who we are. It's growing that posture. And part of that, you know, Pip always talks about that. Part of it comes from going and getting educated. But if you take all that knowledge and you do not take action on it, so we've been working on stories the last few weeks. But if you don't go out and actually, you know, work your story and use it and put it into action with people and practice it with people and try it out, then why are we here? Why do we come here every Monday night? So I really want to encourage you all to take more action and have more stories. And I know with the COVID thing and everything, we haven't been, you know, why can't I? Sorry. Okay. I know we haven't been getting out as much, but there's ways, and like I had brought it up to, I don't even know, Laura, was it you that I brought it up to, that on Facebook you could join some like special education team?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Find things you guys are interested in, and then join groups like that. Like Stacia's talked about the fact that she's in, you know, some different groups that relate to her medical situation. And then she's in some women entrepreneur groups. Join some groups online to be able to get some connections to people. But I want to say this too. I have to believe that all of you still have plenty of people that you could go back to. Like Elizabeth talked about right now, we're in a completely different economic time than we were even a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep pulling out on my old list. That's all I'm doing. Pulling out old lists and going back to people and revisiting people. Things have changed.
Well, and like Maria started with, you know, a friend from high school's unemployed now. Things have changed over the last couple months.
So I really encourage you, if you don't have that names list, here's the thing, if you don't put your names list together and you don't put your goals, you're not going to take the actions. So you have to organize yourself to some degree to have a names list every week. And I always say, if you can just put a list of 10 people together every week, that's 2 per day that you're reaching out to, at the very least. If you can do more than that, great. But if you can only reach out to 10 people per week, but make an conscious effort to reach out to 10 people per week and not the same 10 as last week. And I say that because I've been guilty of that. You know, if I don't have time to put my next week's list together, I've gone back and gone, well, maybe I can recall this person. Maybe they'll answer this time. So we're all guilty of that. But the thing is 10 new people per week, because when we do that, you're going to find people, but don't do it alone. Then, you know, get your meeting booked and get somebody to jump into that Zoom with you and do it together. There's no reason to do any meeting alone anymore with Zoom at all. Denise or Paul, did you have anything you wanted to say from tonight's call?
Well, that's what I was going to reiterate. Everybody's got their own personality. If I would get on here and act like Elizabeth, you'd probably think I was back on my prescription drugs.
You are right.
Or worse.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this because probably nobody ever knows it or has known it in the past. I used to be a public speaker, but when I was in high school, I had a brain concussion, and it changed my way of thinking and my way of talking. So when I say something, I actually have to think about it before I say it. So that may be why there's a little lull in the action there. But we still we do our walking every morning, and now we walk about an hour and we start talking about the business and what we're doing, about our sentences and who we're going to call and what we're going to do differently. And I guess my big problem is whether I'm going outside walking the dog and meeting somebody, I need to start asking more questions. That's my big hang up.
Good takeaway.
It's always been that way from when I was a child. My parents told me to sit down and shut up and don't say anything. So I've got to outgrow that one of these days.
But Paul, what you just said was huge. Huge awarenesses. That's why I'm saying, you guys, that tells me that you're listening to this training you're going to, and you never know when it's going to connect for somebody. You may have to listen to it. Somebody might have to listen to it once, and somebody might have to listen to it 25 times, because we are so conditioned to think the way we were brought up. And we are so brainwashed by whatever brainwashed us.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have the ability to become whatever it is we want. And it doesn't matter if we're still on this planet and we're still on this call, we still have life to live. So I don't care how long it takes. I'm so proud of you, Paul. Those are huge, huge takeaways, or what I want to say, awarenesses for you. And the thing is, you speak so well. The only challenge is you're so passionate about wanting to share with people that you don't ask the questions you want to share before you ask the questions. You are like the kindest, sweetest, most lovable guy. You just are so passionate about wanting to share what you've got that you forget to ask the questions first and listen. That is the only thing that's stopping you and is between you meeting your goals, honestly. So for you being able to say that and be vulnerable enough to share that, I would say don't be too worried about that you can't say something or speak, because you do an incredible job of speaking. It's just asking the questions first to be able to find out more about the person and then making it about them instead of trying to lick them on the face.
Okay.
What's great about this business is it starts as a business in your mind, but it's really personal development. And I think everybody goes through personal development, obviously in their own way and different ways, but it's amazing from our standpoint when you hear things like that, because it's like, you know, the development's there, you know that it's coming, you know that you're almost there. And it's just you're finding some of the tweaks, and it will happen for you. And that's great. That's incredible. And I love the board meeting walks. Every morning there's a board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just keeps making ours longer, though. I don't know what I'm doing. I've
Yeah.
done more 10Ks in 1 year than I've done in my entire life. Oh, and he keeps saying, well, we have more to talk about. And I'm like, yeah, well, my legs are tired. Oh, so Denise, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Well, kind of the same thing he was talking about is just finding opportunities to use the form, you know, to ask those questions. But probably one of the things that struck me the most was what Cullen said, that you're either growing or you're dying. And I was like, well, that was harsh. But then, you know, the more I thought about it, I was like, but that's true. I mean, if you're not doing something to grow today, you're just wasting today.
Mhm.
And, you know, so yeah, it was just the shot in the stomach right there.
One of the things that I used to say all the time, and I kind of stopped saying it, but I should probably get back to it, is do something today your future self will thank you for. And what that means is don't waste the time today, because time goes so quickly. You have to take advantage of each day. And he's right. I mean, you're either developing or you're slipping backwards.
But it's honestly nature. Every single living thing is either living, or I'm sorry, every single living thing is either growing or it's going towards death. It's either growing and going into a blossoming flower, or it's wilting and going away. You cannot stay as a living thing, no matter what it is on the planet that's living, it can't stay right in the middle and not do anything. It's got to be going one direction or the other. So
let's all go the right way.
So it might have sounded harsh, but it really, it really isn't that harsh, because as living beings, we're doing that one way or another. We're doing it.
Yeah, it's a very simple but deep truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very. So I want to have a couple stories shared, because I know a couple of you really worked on your stories and tweak them. So what we did is we went from obviously the very long versions, and you can go back if you're watching this on rerun. I was going to say, wow, that's an old word. If you're watching the recording of this, then what happens is go back and re-listen to some of those stories from before, because now what I want to do is I want to show how we've brought the stories and we've cut them down, and how we can continue to tweak the words to make them more appealing to people that you run into. So I know, first of all, I'm so proud of Denise and Paul. You both got me your stuff before today. Yay. And honestly, it was so obvious you had both worked so hard on them and separately. I mean, you might have done it together, but it came across separately. So whoever wants to go first, if you can kind of share what your story was, do you have it in front of you, your old one or the full story?
I can pull it up.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I want everyone to listen to what the full story is and what they consolidated to. And then Denise, you can talk about how we tweaked yours a little bit in terms of the wording to be able to be more appealing. Do you have it?
I can do mine while she's looking.
That sounds good. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. My long version is that I struggled with major health challenges my entire life that put me and others at risk due to accidents. I've been on some pretty heavy duty prescription drugs until just a few years ago, until my wife introduced me to a friend who helped us find some natural solutions. It's completely changed our life. Not only have I gotten my health back, but I've been able to retire from my job 3 years earlier than expected because I learned from my wife how to add the L factor to our financial plans. And then, are you familiar with that?
So,
Sure.
yep. So go ahead. So remember, that's his long version. So now do your short version, and then we'll kind of talk about how they're going to mold into each other.
Okay. A short version is, after struggling for 60 years with health issues has been exhausting, and using prescription drugs for 20 years has taken a toll on my body. But after 3 years of replacing all medications with natural supplements and restoring my health, is priceless.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So here's the thing. Do you guys see how he's going to be able to get that short part out in a conversation with somebody? If he said that to me, somebody that's into natural health and into health, I'd immediately be looking at him and going, well, what did you do? Or what happened? I'd be asking a question. And then, Paul, you'll be able to expand by sharing pieces of your longer story and stopping so that they can reply, asking a question, do you know anyone else that's ever had, health conditions? Or, whatever. I mean, it becomes a true, authentic, organic conversation. But if you go in with the whole story, then they're pushing back because you just gave them too much information. So you go in with a little bit to draw attention and get people to ask a question. So you really want to squeeze it. Did somebody just say something? No, okay. I'm very, very good, Paul. Now you need to go use it.
Okay.
Denise.
All right, so my old one kind of incorporated a little bit of Paul's story too. So, but I didn't do that in the short version. But the old one was about 4 years ago. I went through a very unusual medical situation that my doctors told me could only be managed through a very invasive, extensive surgical procedure that I did not want to have. So I reached out to an old friend who had shared some information with me that gave me some other options. Around that same time, Paul's doctor had left his practice and the new doctor wouldn't refill his prescriptions. So unless he went through some old tests or redid some tests that the prior doctor had already done, he didn't want to do that. So we sought out some information through other resources and found another option for him as well. 3 years ago, we were talking about retiring, but our financial advisor told us that we couldn't retire when we had hoped to. We knew that there had to be another way, so we did our research and found another option. I never had to have that surgery, and Paul is no longer on those prescription meds, and he retired 3 years earlier than the financial advisor had told us that we would be able to. Sadly, many people are facing these kinds of ultimatums in their lives every day, whether it's in their health, time, careers, or any host of situations. We're excited that we have found a way to pay it forward by sharing with others who are looking for another option.
Again, an incredible story, but way too much for a conversation. So Denise, share with everybody what you shortened it out to.
Okay. What I've learned over the past few years in regard to health or finances or just whatever is that we don't have to settle for the ultimatums presented to us because there are almost always other options. We found ourselves faced with both health and financial situations, but I was determined that there had to be a better way. I knew that I had to have an open mind and look outside the box to find a better option, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, some feedback. I mean, what do you guys think? I think these are much more appealing.
Well, they're much more inviting to, like you said, ask questions because the whole story is not there. So if you want to know, you have to ask.
Yep.
You got to
In
create
both cases.
curiosity.
So now I guess I have to work on my long story, make a short one.
Yeah.
It's like the movie trailer. You don't get the whole
That's right.
picture. You just get the highlights,
That's right.
the attractive parts.
So Denise, can you share with them what we tweaked in that from what you had original, like you shortened it, sent it, and then we tweaked it. Can you just explain what we tweaked so they all understand? Because I think that's key too.
Yeah, I just in general conversation, a lot of times I say, you shouldn't have to do that, you know, or you shouldn't, or I don't turn it on myself. I use you shouldn't, you know, they shouldn't, whatever. So where I had used, I think I had, where's the original one?
That's all right. You were talking in your original one, you had more of you shouldn't, you are this or you are that, and then you changed it to what? I and we.
I or we.
And the reason we did that is because if you are talking to somebody and you're going, you should look for options. We should all be looking for, it's okay to say we should all be looking for options because now you're making it inclusive to yourself. But you don't want to push on someone and say you should be looking for options. Because what if they don't feel like they should be looking for options? Now immediately put the wall up.
Put the brakes on.
So I encouraged her to make it more inclusive to everyone or put it back to herself as I and we. And like I always tell, and I know you guys have heard me say this a million times, try to make as much, I mean, if it's your own story, you have to use I, but where you can, wherever you can, make it we. You know, I started this business together with a friend or together with a coworker or we, and always make it about the team. We, all the way home. Make it about the team because it's not, if you use I too much, they don't see the team effort. Okay.
Denise, I'd like to also add, I think in your short story, when you use the phrase, I was determined, that's a very strong word to use because nothing's going to stop you. It's a word that basically means I'm going to do it. And that's a key word instead of just saying I was looking for or I wanted to find. When you said I was determined, to me, that set up the whole thing because once you said that, it was like, wow, she's committed.
Posture.
That was good. Really good.
You guys did a really good job. Stacia, I know, do you have yours in front of, you're on mute.
I'm looking it up in my email. I only have the one I sent you last week because I was in the urgent care last week.
Okay, so just read that one then.
Hang on, I'm looking for it.
What's our timing?
I don't know. Do I need to give you time to look and have somebody else go first?
There it is.
Okay.
I found it. Great, got another warning. Another weather warning. What I have was, for the one I changed to be more sales geared, I guess, was my husband and I both have college degrees with great careers. However, we are wanting to add additional income streams to allow us to retire earlier. We've owned different businesses in the past, and I had come across information regarding Market America Shop.com and was very interested in it. I spent a great deal of time researching the company and its reputation. After weeks of research, I went through the corporation's success well and picked out several leaders that I felt were in the level Kevin and I would like to be at. And then I researched those people on Facebook and contacted the ones I felt I could relate to. In the end, I made a connection with my current business mentors and partners, Pip and Beth Black. Through them mentoring me in this business, they also introduced me to some of the supplements that have been a great help to me. 21 years ago, I had surgery that required to have my entire large intestine removed. And this has caused me issues with malnutrition to some degree. The supplements I can get through this, the supplements I can get through this business are of the type that my body can fully utilize, which has made a huge difference for my health. Not only do Kevin and I have a business that will provide us with additional income stream, but I was able to recover a part of my health I did not think was possible. Now we are helping others find the same income stream possibilities and sharing the same possibilities to improve their health.
So again, I'm going to say exactly what I said to all of you that were on 2 weeks ago. And Stacia, I think it's been 2 weeks since you've been here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got now her long story, which just like the rest of you has so many incredible pieces to it. Like you guys all have amazing, amazing stories.
Life-changing.
But the thing is now she's got to whittle that down, just like you guys have been working on. She's going to whittle that down. So Stacia, your homework is to whittle that down to a very short, concise like couple statements, like what they just did. And
I stopped Beth and she made me healthy.
No, you're not going to, it's not going to be about me.
No.
It's never, here's the thing. You don't have to tell them our names. You don't have to tell them anything about that you connected with us. That's all part of your conversation.
I'm just kidding.
You just wrote your whole conversation. Now I want you to take your conversation and break it down into just a short, little appealing 2 sentences that somebody's going to go, tell me more, or how did you do that? Or what are you doing? Or ask a question. Okay. So that's your homework.
I can do that if I'm stuck in the ER again.
No, don't say that. Don't put that out there. Harry, I think did you work again on yours?
Yes. So the long story was, and I'll even shorten that a little bit. Several years ago, I was at work when I was having some pain, and one of my coworkers, Charlotte, came over and said she had something that might help. And I took the product, and she explained how to use it and everything, which of course that's out now. So, and within an hour, my pain was gone. Needless to say, I was impressed with that product. Eventually, I looked at the business plan and was impressed with that too. So everything about this company was impressing me, and so I've begun helping other people get rid of their pain, and solve some health issues and things like that. And I've always liked to help people, so it's a great business. Now, obviously, that's way too long, so we cut that down. And so if I'm talking to someone, they say, "Oh, how you doing?" Well, I'm doing well, really well now. I had a few health and financial challenges, but found some great solutions to that. I'm really excited to be working with one of my ex-coworkers to help people who are looking for some answers. And then I have to shut up.
You guys are getting it. You guys are getting it.
It's very hard to stop talking.
This is refreshing. It's not about stop talking, because a conversation is a volley. Think of it as ping pong. If the ball is always in your court, you're not hitting it back to somebody. It's a volley back and forth. So Harry, that makes me want to go, oh my gosh, like what was the solution you found? I mean, and if my deal is I had financial challenges, I might take it a financial way. If my deal is that I had health challenges, I might take it a health way. I love that you just kind of brought both sides into it, and it's now open for a conversation. This is beautiful, you guys.
Yeah. You didn't answer the questions, you invited them, which is what we talked about.
Right.
So does anybody have any questions related to this process that we're trying to diligently take you all through so that you can get some success? No?
Who had the rapid fire questions?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Nobody?
I have a question. I mean, so this miniature story is sort of your lead in. You're using that to you know, maybe after you have 5 minutes of conversation or whatever, and, or they ask you how you're doing, or, you know, or they say they have a particular issue or something like that. So it's kind of a segue into talking about the business. Okay.
That's correct.
Yep.
Because a lot of people always say, well, I don't know how to bring up my business. So your business comes up through your story, but it's through I love that word. It's through a segue. So you're given a segue to get them to ask you questions that would allow you then to bring up the business a little bit more. And again, remember, you're not there to discuss the business like Maria started tonight. You're there to drip a little bit and then go back and make a phone call or book an appointment to talk later. You can, I mean.
Big Al covered that tonight on the call. He always says, I don't have time now. And he talked about getting the number and texting.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing from that call was I realized that I'm probably trying to do too much by myself. So maybe get Charlotte on the phone with somebody. And,
Ding, 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 ding.
It's all right. The thing is, you guys are,
light bulb.
that's
Perfect.
This is great. It's happening. You guys are starting to get it.
Your light bulb's faster than a lot of ours, Harry. Don't worry.
Oh, well.
Keep in mind too, I mean, this whole process of imprinting, we didn't necessarily learn the correct ways. And so it's a matter of we're all kind of adjusting too. So the imprintation, as it were, is
that a word?
Yeah, I don't know. Is kind of happening on the run.
So it's like Denise and I were talking about earlier this week, is once you get this big story and this little segue, what's going to happen is in your segue, in your conversation, people are going to then ask one of the two questions that are in the basic 5. And what are those? What are the 2 questions we have to work on?
What is it?
What is it?
What do you do?
And what do you do? Because your segue and then having a further conversation is going to make people go, well, just like they asked Maria, well, what do you do? What exactly is your business? You've got to have an answer that's very well practiced, not that you have to say it so canned, because you want it to be natural. But if you don't practice it, it will never, ever be natural. You'll be just throwing something out and hoping it works.
And we've done that.
And we've done that way too many times. So you've got to have a what is it and what do you do statement ready that's going to come off. And you might have, like, some of you are dabbling, like I'll use Harry for example. Harry wants to involve himself in more of business to business with websites or Debt Shredder, but he also has a health story. So Harry, you might have to have 2 different what is it, what do you do kind of statements that you practice, so that depending on where the conversation goes, you can flow with that. Okay. I have to have that because I have my health, but then I have my total overall business. So if I'm talking to somebody that I think, and sometimes it's one of those things that I don't know which one to bring up because I don't know the person well enough and I don't have time to ask more questions. So sometimes you just have to throw it out and take
And sometimes we've guessed wrong.
Yes, we have. And found out, I took a business approach. This has happened many times. I've taken a business approach to then find out that they totally were into health and I did not know that. But I didn't have time to find out. So you just take a shotgun approach. So with this being said, and now working on these stories, because obviously this is something that continues to be developed, and it's going to, as your business grows and as you grow, it's going to change. As I mean, my story's changed just since all this stuff has happened, because we're in a different time period. So you now have one is to go out and meet new people and create conversations that lead to your story, that lead to asking them to, that you're bringing a solution to them or asking them to evaluate. You have people already on your list that you know that you're going to call and ask them to evaluate your business to help you. And then the other thing is that we provide solutions. So our solutions are either product or business. And business is one of our products, basically. So when we're looking at those solutions, we always talk about base 10, 7 strong. Your business foundation, to create a solid business means you should have 10 customers buying at least 30 BV from you every single month. And I know from looking at reports that most of you do not have that. So we've been saying we need to do more wellness events, and we started doing wellness events, but I pulled back because I was like, you know, we weren't getting enough guests to repeat the same wellness event over and over again. And so just last week, I got this, like, I don't know, I felt like it was a brilliant idea. I ran it by Laura and Charlotte and said, what do you guys think of this? Because I was like, what if we had like every other week a wellness event, but we had a different topic to it, and we could take and pull some of our health professionals in, or some of our professionals that have backgrounds in wellness. So for example, Laura is a special ed teacher. Well, what if we did a wellness event that dealt with children's health, and I could pull Laura in as the special ed teacher, and you guys can invite into that particular focused topic. And then I'm talking to one of our chiropractors tomorrow morning about having him talk about pain and or possibly weight management, because he's using our TLS program very effectively, but he also obviously has experience with pain and with daily essentials and things like that. So I'm thinking, what if we pull topics? So my question is, would you guys start working to get more guests? Because the idea is to be able to do these wellness events that we have plenty of guests on there to be able to start creating customers for you. I'm not doing these because, I mean, if you guys saw our SAM, we don't personally need more customers. We moved over 8,000 BB this quarter. Customers is not something I need. So if we do this, we're doing it for all of you. So if you are not going to invite, I don't want to take the time to do it. So I honestly just want an honest feedback of whether this is something that you'd like to move forward with, that we create a wellness series per se.
I'm in.
Laura.
No, I'm in.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm in, and I think I'll have better luck if we have different ones, because I have some people that are only interested in children and some people that are only interested in like pain. So I might make it easier to get some different people.
Would there be any chance that we'd be covering pet wellness?
We could. I don't have a professional vet or pet person on the team that I'm aware of. Do we, Denise?
Not on our team, but Jocelyn would do that for you.
Oh, Jocelyn
Oh.
would do that for us. Yeah.
This sounds bad. I have more contacts that would spend money on their pets.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
actually not that odd.
Yeah, not that odd at all.
People take better care of their pets than themselves.
Yeah, because I mean, the one guy with the J pouch that was doing the daily essentials stopped doing it because he said it was too much money, and now he's like miserable with his pouch, and it's like, I'm like, dude.
But they'll spend it on their pets.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Denise, I think that's a great idea. We'll actually see if Jocelyn, I'm putting that down here. And obviously we can pull people in from other teams, just like they were talking about tonight. Like, I mean, I'm going to pull Dr. Dwight in probably with Laura to do the wellness for children, because I can have Laura do a little piece and have Dr. Dwight do a little piece, and it can be well-rounded. Dr. Dwight is a doctor of Oriental medicine, and he basically specializes in children. And he's also an acupuncturist. And then Laura, as a special ed teacher working with children, we can really, like, that would be a really powerful call.
Yeah.
And we'll have some testimonials on each call. So like, we'll bring pet testimonials. If we do a pet call, we would bring pet testimonials and not just have Jocelyn do a presentation, but just like we did on the wellness event, that you have testimonials to it. So
just, so Jocelyn is doing something similar to what you're talking about. But she does it's just for her team. Like she won't let any other UFOs in. We're in because she counts us as part of her team. But she uses it for people to almost like a reverse recruiting kind of thing. So like you invite this specific doctor who does this specific type of treatment to come and do a presentation about his specialty. But Jocelyn is leading the call. So she introduces with what she does and how she helps people and coaches people with their wellness and whatnot. And then introduces the specialist. They come on, do their piece, and then she chats back and forth with them afterwards. And then she, will inevitably get a conversation going with them and whoever brought them in about what we do and how they can incorporate that into their business. So she's done she works with a lot of doctors and health practitioners. So she's used that a lot in a reverse recruiting kind of situation, but it also gives credible information to the team in health relations and health things. I mean, she's had a healthy chef on there and a girl who made elderberry syrup and, things like that. So just kind of all over the place.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out who this is. I just got a message. Beth, how are you doing? Kindly send 6 boxes of essential vitamins as soon as possible. We'll send you the money via Zelle.
It's a nice order.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who it is. I've obviously corresponded with this person numerous times. Oh, it's Festus. Okay. Sorry, didn't recognize. He's not in my, I guess I should put him in my phone book.
I would say so.
We'll put him in.
6 boxes, he deserves his name in your phone.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, who is this? I mean, it was a very kind message. Odd that he would text me at 10 o'clock at night, but I'll take it. So here's the thing. There's so many different ways to be able to pull communities together. We have a number of different, like we have a health practitioner. Charlotte Israel is a health coach.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Latortu is a
She's an
internist, MD. Dr. Busquets, we've got Nancy, Charlotte's sister, who is an RN. We've got Dr. Joe, and I'm going to close the call with this. We've got Dr. Joe, who's a cardiologist, so we thought we could do something with heart health. We have so many people to be able to use as a resource, but they're not on this call because they're not necessarily building business the same way we are. They're health professionals. And so we're looking that we want them to meet all of you as well, because then they see it as a business more than just as a Nutrimetrics. But at the same time, we want you to be able to leverage their expertise. So that's why it was like, gosh, we could pull this together, but we have to, like, I don't want to bring a doctor to a call and then we have, 2 of you show up with 1 guest. Like, that would be embarrassing. So we've got to make a commitment that if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. So we're trying to figure out, we're thinking that every other Monday night at 8 o'clock, but here's the deal that, we keep talking about there's never a good night because there's something every night. There's a training every night. So if we make a commitment, we got to make a commitment, and then we've got to know that we just listen to other recordings or something. So
there are no trainings on Tuesday nights, I've noticed.
We can't do.
Oh, there's all UBPs.
Oh.
Tuesday nights are always UBP nights.
Yeah.
That would be why.
Yep, Tuesday and Thursday nights are UBP nights, which is why we never go with Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's Monday or Wednesday is our choice. So we figured maybe Monday at 8 o'clock right before this call, but then that would mean that we have every other week, we have a webinar at 8 o'clock, jump off of that, and then jump onto our team Zoom. So the question is, would you guys be willing to do that, because I don't think we could do it Wednesday nights as well, but I don't think doing it at 9 o'clock is good. I think we have to do it at 8 o'clock so that we can capture Stacia's, you know, that kind of person that's over in the next time zone or even the next time zone over, because we all have contacts there.
And Wednesday, JR is on it.
Wednesday, JR's on at 8.
Yeah, but his is on Facebook, so we can watch it delayed later though too.
Well, and it's also recorded.
Yeah.
Not everything Monday night is available, at least that I've seen. Not everything Monday is available to watch later, but his are always.
They are. However, Monday nights are too. Anything at 8 o'clock on a Monday night from corporate is recorded.
Okay. So, but what about the 7 o'clock ones they did tonight that I missed because I was?
Oh,
7 o'clock her time.
It was 7 o'clock your time. It was.
Oh. So I'll be able to catch the thing that I missed because of the weather.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So what do you guys think? Would you rather would you rather just use Monday nights because it wouldn't be every week. We would do like, I'm thinking of starting with either once every month or once every other week, but I'm feeling like if we go every other week, we can get some momentum going to help you create customers, because that's the whole point.
I think we should
Agreed.
try it, and if it doesn't work out, we can always switch it.
You guys would do 2 hours, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock health seminar, and then 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock our call here?
That would be preferable for me,
Yeah.
because otherwise you have like something every night.
We could have our isotonics mixer blender thingies and just put martinis in them so nobody knows.
You can.
We do that anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can have all kinds of martinis and what we used to have? We used to have, I don't remember what we call them. We had a nice little flyer that went with it too.
Mimosas.
Anyway, so in closing, because we're after 10 o'clock, so I just want to say, Charlotte, I am so freaking proud of you. She has truly in the last, and I don't even know how many weeks it's been. Has it been 6, 8 weeks?
It's probably 7, maybe 8. I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm tired. I lost count.
That's all right. She and her partner, Lynn, have literally leveraged the team in every way, shape, and form. They've leveraged myself. They've leveraged Brandy from Nutrimetrics. They've leveraged the videos. They've leveraged Dr. Nancy. They have leveraged all these different pieces to be able to get this cardiologist to a point that they actually partnered with us last week, 2 weeks. Last week. And again, she deserves that. Hard work. And Nutrimetrics is not for the faint of heart, as she's learning, because they're hard people to deal with. They're used to getting everything their way. But I just want to say kudos, because you really are. And here's the thing. She doesn't ever reach out to me without looking for something first. And then when she looks for it and finds it, she says, okay, this is what I found. Is this what I should be sending? So she's utilizing the team, but she's doing it, and she's taking that, what's the word?
Ownership.
That ownership of it. And that shows you're stepping up as a leader, and we are super, super proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks for all your help, because it has been a challenge. I had to learn Nutrimetrics. I had to learn web centers. Yeah, it's been interesting.
We have filled your time from not going to work every day, and definitely filled it up with some new stuff.
That's for sure.
So, hopefully he'll still buy that website, but we'll see where that goes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a way, and I did try to look, but I couldn't find it. Is there a way to print? I know there's like an inventory report, but is there a way to print what you have in inventory?
Mm-hmm. I've done it.
How?
I've just printed the pages. I don't think I copied and pasted them. I think I actually printed the pages. So I just right-clicked and hit print.
Okay, but there's not a report that prints
There's
everything.
not a report,
Okay.
which I know we're on here late, but I'm going to ask. Am I the only one, or are we the only one that seem to find our inventory management is never correct?
Yeah.
No, it's never, I'm always trying to correct it and it's like never right.
I had something in there last month that I've never even ordered.
Okay, so it's not just us.
Mhm.
But because we have a larger inventory, it's a mess every month.
Mhm.
Like today I went in to do our May, I do all of the stuff we purchase because we are Orlampa Enterprises. We're not Beth Black or Philip Black. So we purchase as individuals, we purchase from our own company, Orlampa Enterprises. So I put us in as a receipt every month. So today I went in to do May because now we're finally home because we weren't here the first 2 weeks. So I went in to do May and we signed out to curcumin, for example. We signed out TLS shakes. They were not on my inventory management. Yet I have one on my shelf and we signed out too. And I'm going, where's my curcumin? And this happens every month repeatedly. Like there's
It might
something.
be in my inventory because that sounds like something that might have been in mine that I never ordered.
Wow.
We'll sell it to you, then you'll have it.
Here's the thing, I've given up on it because honestly, for me to go in and print it, I did that, Maria, and that's why I'm saying, I actually printed the
That's how we
report
started.
and then I would go back and compare to what's on our shelf. And we were always missing or something every single month, something didn't jive. And I finally, after 3 months of that, said, I don't have time for this anymore. It just doesn't jive and that's all it's gonna be.
So what do? I actually was going through and putting stuff down for personal use just to say that I assigned it because
At the end of the year, I'm gonna write it off as either, well, Pip still puts our stuff into QuickBooks. So
Yeah.
he's still like on our receipt today, I can actually show you. So here's, as we sign out, every time we sign something out, we just sign it out. So this was May. And then I go through and create the receipt. So here's the receipt. And then what did I do? I added the 2 products that weren't available in my inventory management and I hand wrote them in. So when he takes this to put in QuickBooks, he knows to put those 2 products that we bought them from ourselves.
Which is our real inventory per our accountant anyway, because we're going to give them the QuickBooks copy. But it would be nice if they matched.
But they-
Okay.
So I have a question regarding that also, because I haven't been really diligent about doing my personal use stuff. And so I knew my inventory was like getting like too much stuff. And I was like, we've used all this. So I just went through and pulled out everything that had been personal use. And so it was a lot of stuff. And so a few days later, I was looking back at my order history, looking for something else. And I saw this $1,300 order. And I'm like, what in the world, where did that come from? And so I opened it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't remember ordering this stuff, and after I started kind of putting the pieces together, it was all of the stuff that I had used for my that I had put into personal use from inventory. It created an invoice. Is it supposed to do that? That was, okay.
Yeah, because you sold it, you officially sold it to yourself.
Okay.
So it creates, in the order history, it's going to create a receipt. That's how I printed what I just showed you.
And they all show up on your Form 1000 too.
If you hit the button to submit it,
I don't ever submit those.
and it still shows up in there?
Well, it'll every time I take something out, it puts an invoice in my form, in my Form 1000 list.
Gotcha.
But I only ever pick the customer ones.
Right,
I
right,
don't need them, so I just leave them.
Yeah.
right. But what I'm saying, Maria, is when I created that receipt, at the bottom of the receipt, when you create the receipt out of inventory management, when you create it, it actually asks you if you would like it to go to your Form 1000 or not. You don't have to send it to your Form 1000, meaning it won't even show up in the Form 1000 list.
Okay.
It's an option. If you can't figure out how to print it, let me know, because I know that I printed it because I have a copy of it when I printed it, and I don't think I copy and pasted. I think I just hit right click and hit
You can
print.
probably just print the page.
I don't
Screen-
think
like
there
a
was,
screen print.
right, but I
Screen
don't
print.
think there was a
Yeah.
print button on the
No,
page.
I think
So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. All right, you guys, I know it's quarter
Way
after
after.
10 and everyone's like, ugh.
Sorry, yeah.
But
or 9:15, depending on where you are.
yes, this is true. So, all right. So everybody, action, action, action.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.